Welcome to Style Masterclass, the podcast that teaches women to look stylish and feel confident so that they can show up ready to conquer and slay no matter what size they are. I'm your host, Miss J. You ready? Hello. We are going to be talking about Fragrance 101 today. And the reason why I'm bringing this episode to you is because I have been doing a ton of research about luxury brands, luxury beauty items, particularly during the pandemic. I'm weirdly obsessed with patterns of buying, patterns of purchasing, and believe it or not, perfume, fragrance was one of those areas that saw growth during the pandemic. And I've been talking to a lot of my clients, and one thing we've been talking about is how to set the getting ready mood. I have whole podcast episodes on this. How do we step into our personal style statements, which is how I teach my students to define their personal style in my course, Style Masterclass. How do we personify the woman who is feminine and fierce? How do we personify the woman who is chic and sophisticated, or whatever their combination of words are? Badass, rebel. These are just a few examples from some of my students. So how do we embody the woman who is, fill in the blank, unique, personally defined, tailored to you, personal style statement? How do we set her up for getting ready in the morning? And one way to do this powerfully is with fragrance. Your olfactory memory, your nose memory, is actually one of your strongest memories. If I asked you to conjure up, what does your grandma smell like? Your mother, someone who was close to you, particularly during your formative years, you could recall their smell. My grandmother wore Carolina Herrera perfume. If I smell that, I instantly think of her. I think of how my best friend smells, even though she lives literally on the other side of the world. I can think of how she smells. So these are powerful, powerful ways to create a lasting impression in a room that you enter. Because we are all about owning the room. It's also a way for you to create a moment for yourself in the morning. It's also a way for you to drop into your personal style statement. It's powerful. So I want to arm you with some basic knowledge today and some tips and tricks for making that fragrance be amazing on you, and how to pick one, how to make it last. But really, I think there are some important things to know as you shop, and perhaps as you decide to use fragrance as one of the many tools available to you in your style arsenal. So one thing to note is what's referred to as a pyramid. Now, I'm not going to give you too much in the science of it, but just note there's top notes to fragrance. There's the middle notes, often referred to as the heart notes, and then there's the base notes. From a chemistry standpoint, typically the base notes are molecularly a little heavier than your heart notes. And then your lighter, molecularly speaking, notes, your top notes, usually are going to be the bright citruses. Your middle notes, your heart notes, are going to be your gourmand notes. Sometimes they also include some spices. And then your base notes typically are like a vanilla or a musk, things that are actually quite heavy molecularly. So that's sort of the pyramid of fragrance. Why do we need to know this? Well, it's important to know when you're shopping for fragrance that you allow it enough time to have the top notes, which last about 30 minutes, lift. So you can get to the heart notes, which comprise about 70% of the scent itself. And then to test if you like those base notes, because those are going to be our quote unquote strongest scents once the top notes and the middle notes have started to wear. That's why sometimes you'll love a scent on a friend. You're like, what are you wearing? You smell great. And then you try it on yourself and something just isn't quite the same. Well, your friend's skin chemistry is different than yours. You want to try it on your own skin. Just because it smells great in the bottle or great on your friend or that woman on the subway or wherever you encounter the humans, right? You want to test it on your own skin because your own skin chemistry is going to be different. And it's also going to factor in whether you're well moisturized yourself. How long is that note, that perfume, those oils in the perfume, or even the alcohol in the perfume going to bond to your own skin? So we need you as you're shopping. We need you. That sounds so dramatic. I recommend that if you're going to shop for fragrance and it's not one you've tried out before, that you test it on yourself. Don't just take the bottle's word for it or the description on the website's word for it. Test it on your own skin. Walk around with it for at least half an hour. Let those top notes lift and see if you still enjoy the heart notes and if you enjoy the smell of the base notes at the end of the day. I can tell you, I got a beautiful Liberty of London box for Christmas and all kinds of goodies and perfumes and different things in it. And I tried one and the top notes were gorgeous. The bottom notes, which were a little on the muskier side, and I actually do love a really good musk perfume. Yeah, not a fan of the way this musk turned on my particular body. There's nothing against the perfume, just the way the chemistry worked out didn't quite work for me by the end of the day. Lovely little sample. I will pass it along to someone else who can enjoy it. So we want to give 30 minutes, at least for the top notes to lift. We want to check in at the end of the day to see if there's something we really want to invest in, which brings me to the second thing you need to know about perfumes, fragrance. There are different types. So eau de toilette means something then different than eau de cologne, than actual eau de parfum and actual parfum. Okay. These are all different things. And it's really based upon how much perfume oil made it into that bottle. Now, eau de toilette or eau de cologne or eau fraîche, which is different types of much, much lighter. They're going to have less oil in them. But fresh is actually made more of water than alcohol. So it's literally supposed to be a refreshing spray. It will not last long. There's very little oil in it and it's water-based. For our folks who do cologne or toilette, that's going to have different compositions of alcohol to oil. Again, it's going to have less oil than an eau de parfum or actual parfum. Parfum will have more oil in it. It won't be pure oil, but it will have more oil in it. Notice the price point goes up depending on how much actual oil is in it. So you get from toilette to parfum. Parfum is definitely going to have more oil and it's going to be more costly, which is why we definitely want to test our fragrance to see how those top notes lift, how the base notes pair with our chemistry, and how we feel at the end of the day if it's something we want to make an investment in, particularly in the parfum version. Here's us things to know between the differences too. Not only is there different oil content, sometimes the people who mix the perfumes themselves will play with some of those top notes depending on what you're investing in. So your toilette might have a little bit more of the top notes in it because we know that you're not really investing in the heavier oil. It usually should smell the same, but by the end of the day, you might have a different reaction because we have a different chemical set playing. How do I bring this home to you? So test on that skin before you make that investment. That's the takeaway here. The other thing is to make sure that fragrance lasts. Let's say we're going to make that amazing investment in that beautiful bottle of parfum or eau de parfum, and we're going to totally make that an investment. Here's what I want you to know, lovey. We want to make sure your skin is well moisturized so that that parfum adheres to your skin, that the skin is going to bond to those oils as opposed to just sucking them in because your skin is so dry and then there goes the scent, right? So we want to make sure you're well moisturized. We want to make sure you're putting it in, your pulse points. So oftentimes you'll hear behind your ears, your wrists, sometimes behind your knees, the back of your head, I've heard as well. But don't rub. Again, we've made an investment. This stuff's not cheap. So we don't want to rub our wrists together or rub behind our ears or rub our neck after applying the fragrance. We want to just let it air dry because if you rub, you're breaking down those chemicals and then there goes our scent. There goes our money and our well-earned investment. So to keep it on longer, we're not going to rub, we're going to apply, we're going to allow it to air dry. Now, I know some of y'all love to walk into the mist, the dramatic mist of perfume, and I'm here for this. I love it, but maybe we don't want to do that with our parfum. Maybe we want to do that with our eau de toilette. Let a little bit of the alcohol evaporate and walk into the mist. I am here for this. I love the drama. Just know what you might be dissipating into the air. Expensive oil or more alcohol based. I'll probably dissipate my alcohol base, my eau de toilette, into the air and walk into that mist rather than my parfum. That's just my personal preference. The other thing is there's an idea of layering scents. Now, if you love things that are oil, just love yourself some drops of oil, definitely want to make sure you have an alcohol or some other type of carrier that is scentless. But I do think that there is some fun in playing with layering your scents yourself. So maybe even doing a layer of a musk, like For Her by Narciso Rodriguez is one of my favorite muskier scents. And then maybe doing something with a little patchouli as another scent, and then doing something citrusy floral. Now, again, you want to play with this and see how things dissipate over time. It might be a little too much, which brings me to my last point, the etiquette of fragrance. Okay. So yes, we want to create a moment for you with fragrance as you're getting ready in your own house, particularly since so many of you are working from home. And I did a whole podcast episode called I Smell, you smell yourself, right? I smell myself. It's worth it to me to invest in a delicious perfume and enjoy the scent simply for myself. But as we enter back into the world again, there are a lot of folks with tons of allergies. There are a lot of folks that you're going to be sharing spaces with. Maybe you went to a shared office space program after you started to work from home sometime, and your office decided, we don't need all this space. We're actually going to downsize, and we are going to be sharing office spaces more. I have tons of friends who are going through this right now. You're going to be doing public transportation again. Whatever the case, you're going to be encountering the peoples. So we want to be respectful of the other humans around us. We don't want to knock people's socks and boots off out of their chair across the room because our scent hit them full force in a not so great way. We've all encountered those dudes with the heavy, heavy aftershave in the morning on the subway, and it gives you a headache and you feel nauseous. Don't be that person. So if you're going to be entering bigger public spaces, pick your scent carefully. Maybe something that's a little bit lighter, that the top notes dissipate and the base note or even the middle heart notes is a little bit more of a secret between you and maybe the person right next to you, but not the entire room. So we want to be respectful. So here's the thing. If you're going to invest in fragrance, I would say have a fragrance wardrobe that accommodates things that are on the lighter side, maybe an eau de toilette that will dissipate slightly and not offend those who are nearby, right? We're not going to fill the room with our scent. We're going to be able to smell it ourselves throughout the day. Maybe you want to buy something with a little bit of a heavier scent for those winter days where there is a lot of friction in our clothes and we still want to be able to smell our fragrance at the end of the day. And then maybe we want something even heavier still for those nights out on the town, something spicy, something musky, something with a lot of patchouli, which I'm a fan of myself. Like those things, when I'm sweating and it's a hot summer day and I still want to get a whiff of my scent, but I know it's evaporating like crazy because I'm in the sun. Well, I have something on hand for each of those occasions. So just like I love to tell you, hey, buy a great, fantastic bra wardrobe or a panty wardrobe or a shoe wardrobe that fits your lifestyle, so too with fragrance, my loves. That's what I have for you today. Go play, go enjoy, go find what may be your signature scent or two or three, depending upon the occasion. If you have any questions about this or what we do in Style Masterclass, my 8-week coaching program, you can find out more by going to judithgaton.com/style-school. Until next time, Miss J out. Thank you for listening to today's episode. To learn more about how to work with me, go to judithgaton.com. Click on the Start Here button to get access to my free personal style class. I give you a quick style win, a confidence boost, and you walk away with the tools to start getting stylish. Who doesn't love that? See you there. Miss J out.